Section 2.4, multiplying and dividing rational numbers. Some things for you to remember. First off, the rules for multiplying and dividing fractions have not changed. You're still going to do those same rules that you're used to. Your rules for multiplying and dividing decimals have not changed. You're still using those same rules. And your rules for multiplying and dividing integers have not changed. Okay, so these rules are not changing. You just need to mix. So, case in point, if I'm multiplying a negative number times a negative number, I'm going to get a positive number. So that rule is not changing. We just need to start putting that with our fractions and with inside of our decimals. All right, so let's start looking at a couple of these questions. All right, so for this first problem, it's telling me to take -8/9 and multiply it by -18/25. Now, let's remember about some things about fractions and when we're multiplying. We can simply just multiply across the top right now and go 8 times 18, but I'm kind of lazy and I don't feel like working that hard. So we can actually cancel some things out. And what we do is we look from bottom to top, kind of look this direction, and then we look this direction. And we ask ourselves, can I divide this 9 and this 18 by a number that in both of them? So can I divide 9 and 18 by a number? And in this case, I can. I can divide both of them, divide by 9. So 9 divided by 9 gives me 1, so this becomes a 1. And 18 divided by 9 gives me a 2. So that gives me a 2. Now I do the same thing the opposite way, 8 and 25. Can I divide 8 and 25 by the exact same thing? In this case, no. So there's nothing more I can do with that. Now that I've done that, I can simply multiply like normal. 8 times 2 is going to give me 16, and 1 times 25 gives me 25. Now the question is this going to be a negative or a positive answer? Well, let's look at it. This number was a negative, and this number was originally a negative. So a negative times a negative equals a positive. I'm done. All right, so let's look at this one right here. Remember, I have -4 times 9 over 16. Remember that we can change this easily to a fraction. Very simple, by putting a 1 under it. Now, let's do our check. I don't feel like multiplying all this out, so I'm going to ask myself, can anything go into 4 and 16 at the same time? Yes, it can, a 4. So this can become 4 divided by 4 is a 1, and 16 divided by 4 is a 4. Now that I've done that, I can't do anything else here, so I simply multiply. What's 1 times 9? 9. What's 1 times 4? 4. And since this was a negative number times a positive number, my answer will be negative. So -9/4. But since I'm writing it in the simplest form, we can rearrange it and ask ourselves, how many times can 4 go into 9? Well, it can go in there 2 times with a remainder of 1/4. So -2 and 1/4. All right. Now let's take a look at number 4. Okay. So it's just a matter of doing this. -2/3 divide by 5/9. Now let's do our rules when we divide fractions. We simply rewrite it. We change this to multiplication, and then we flip this to its reciprocal, which is 9/5. Okay, so that's how we divide fractions. We change it to multiplication and flip that fraction upside down. All right, so this should be review. Now that I've done that, we do exactly like we did before. Can anything go into both 2 and 5 at the same time? No. How about 3 and 9? Yes. I can divide by 3 to get this to become a 1. I can divide this by 3 to become a 3. Now I'll simply multiply. -2 times 3 gives me -6. 1 times 5 gives me 5. So can I simplify this even farther? Yes. I know that this can go into 6 one whole time with a remainder of 1/5. So -1 and 1/5. Right now I want you to try number 5 and number 6 on your own. All right, so for number 3, you should have got -8 4/7. Number 5, you should have got -7 over 26. And for number 6, 1 8/12. So what I'm going to do with you right now is I'm actually going to walk you through 7, 8. All right, so notice this. I'm multiplying these numbers. So it's pretty straightforward. I know that I'm going to go 1.39 and I'm going to multiply it by 6.8. Remember, when we're doing multiplications, the place value where these decimals are, it doesn't really matter. We just multiply. And now we simply multiply things. 8 times 9 is 72, carry the 7. 8 times 3 is 24, plus 7 gives me 31. 8 times 1 is 8, plus 3 gives me 11. Now I'm going to do the next one. I'm going to put a place value here, and I'm going to go 6 times 9 is going to give me 54. Then 6 times 3 is 18, plus 5 is 23. Carry the 2. 6 times 1 is 6, plus 2 is 8. Now, I add everything up. 2 plus 0 is 2, 1 plus 4 is 5, 1 plus 3 is 4, 1 plus 8 is 9. Now that I've done that, it's just a matter of how many decimal places did I have. I had 1, 2, 3 decimals, so this will have 1, 2, 3 decimals. So I've done the multiplication. The question is now, is this a positive 9.452 or a negative 0.452? Well, look, I have a negative times a negative, so it must be positive. All right. Now, let's try the next one. I have a negative 10 divided by 0.22. So, here's the thing. I can't really divide it like this. I have to rewrite this. If I'm going to go 0.22, and then I'm going to put a 10, I can't really do it like this. I'm going to have to move my decimal over 2 places. And in doing so, I move my decimal over 2 places. Okay? So, there we go. It puts it here. So now it changes it to 22 dividing into basically 1,000. All right. Now, how many times can 22 go into 1? Nothing. How many times can 22 go into 10? Nothing. How many times can 22 go into 100? Well, it can go 4 times, and that gives me 88. All right. So now that I've done that, I'm going to go 100 minus 88 is going to give me 12. All right, because I borrowed, this will become a 9, this will become a 10, so it's 12. Bring down my 0. How many times can this go into that? So I'm going to have, I believe it's only going to be 9 times, so let's just do a little double check on it. So 2 times that gives me 18, carry the 1, that gives me 100 and, whoops. Did I do that right? No, it's not going to be 9. That's going to be 5. I don't know why I thought 9. Let's do that again. So 22 times 5. Let's check that one. That's going to give me 10. Carry the 1. That gives me 110. So very good. That will give me a 5. All right. So I subtract 110. All right. And then this right here will give me 10. I bring down another 0. So what we have so far is I'm going to have to put a 0 here and bring it down. And then I've got to do it all over again. Well, notice that I have 100. Well, it's going to end up giving me, if I continue to work this out all the way, it's going to give me 45.45 infinity. The question is this a positive number or a negative number? Well, look at it. I have a negative 10 divided by a positive 0.22. Well, that means that a negative divided by a positive is a negative. All right, so the next thing, same concept right here. And I'm going to, again, after reviewing this, I'm actually going to let you try 9. Oh, there's the magical chimes going off in the classroom. All right, let the chimes done. There we go, chimes. So I'm actually going to let you try 9 on your own and come back and see how you did. Okay, you should have gotten 7.9. If you're not really sure what to do on this one, again, come find me. I really want you to try that one on your own because it is a little bit more complicated. And for 10, it says, in a game of tug of war, your team changes -1 3/10 feet in position every 10 seconds. What is your change of position after 30 seconds? Well, I'm going to give you a little bit of a hint here. If you're changing 10 seconds, every 10 seconds, and you change for a total of 30, how many times did you change? Well, you changed 3 times. So if you know you have 3 changes and each one is this, well, what do you do? All right, so I'm going to leave that one to you. You know how to find me if you need me, so talk to you next time. Bye-bye.